So, in all the people you've had on your podcast, do you feel like there are any similarities between the majority, or do you feel like there's like a core theme that runs through them? Like, what's been sort of your observation about the community you've pulled together? Because you've identified people to have on here.
And that's a very interesting question. There is a similarity between multiple guests that I've got on my show, but that is by design. I've got these guests because they have something in common with me, and as a result, they will have a lot of things in common with each other.
Yeah.
I try to get guests who I find are very interesting to me and to the audience as well. I try to find guests are who are more open-minded. See, the thing is, when I started this podcast, or when I thought of starting a podcast, I used to think, why am I not able to have these kind of conversations with my friends during drinking conversations without them shutting me? Within, I would open my mouth, and within 2 seconds, someone would tell me, you know what, shut up, just stop talking. So I thought,
I had that at home a lot. Yeah.
so I thought, you know what? I'm going to start my own podcast. I'm going to get a lot of people and I'm going to talk, and no one's going to tell me to shut up.
Nice. Okay, so that's the commonality.
Sorry?
That's the similarity between us.
Yeah, I guess so. I think the fact is we tend to disagree on some things. I'm sure there are some aspects where you and I disagree, where a lot of guests disagree with me, but I think we can have that mutual respect to find common ground, and if not, at least we can say, hey, we can agree to disagree and move on. But at the end of an hour, or at the end of 2 hours of conversation, both of us can feel like, you know what, that was a fruitful conversation. I learned something from that.
Yeah. I mean, it's a sign of emotional maturity, right? Agreeing to disagree, or being able to respect that someone is different from you. I think that should be taught to us at a very young age, but it's not really. I think we're taught to like kind of be like everyone else and fit in the box, and even from school, wear the same uniforms and say the right thing, and if you don't say the right thing, get out of class and stand in the corner. And at every point we're forced to kind of think that there's a certain way we have to be. But I think I realized what happened. Like, I tried to be that perfect person, and then it didn't work. Like, everyone just turned on me when I started saying things that didn't toe the line. And I think that really shocked me. I was just like, I don't understand. I'm still the same person. The same people were applauding me 6 months before that, and they have my whole life, and suddenly they're not. Like, more than anything, it made me curious. I was just like, what is going on here? Why can't people just say, okay, that's what you believe, cool? I mean, I know that like whenever now there's this culture of, if you talk about something that doesn't match the mainstream, you're a conspiracy theorist. But when I heard that word and I started like figuring out, okay, what do people mean when they say conspiracy theorists? And it's like, this was 2 years ago, and I realized that people meant, it's people who talk about like aliens, and they think that the earth is flat or whatever, blah blah blah. And there were these couple of ideas that always came up. Those are the people, and if you're not saying this, means you believe that. To me, it wasn't like, oh, but that's true and that's false. I just sort of was like, but so what if people believe it? Like, so what? Like, what's the problem? I don't understand. Like, if you believe that there's aliens up around and they might come one day, or whatever you may believe, why does that threaten me so much? Like, it shouldn't upset me. It really doesn't. And I don't see how that is a threat to society. Because I have lots of friends who have all sorts of crazy beliefs. I've met lots of people in the world who believe things that are truly bizarre, but they're just carrying on living their own life, like doing their own thing. So I think we have to renormalize the fact that people can and should be able to believe what they want, and that isn't a fundamental threat to me. If anything, it empowers me to be who I am and make choices about my decisions. And I think it's hard because it's been ingrained in us, and we've been told a lot of lies that because people believe something different, all these violent things happen. But once we can see through that smoke screen, I think a lot of it then makes sense. And people like being able to have that freedom. I think freedom is addictive. If you're free to choose what you want to believe, and you're free to say what you want, and you're free to be who you are, I mean, those are the same people who are pushing for, kind of people to have freedom of expression in terms of their sexuality, or, their other preferences, what they want to eat, and all these other things. So how can we draw this arbitrary line somewhere? I think it's really nice that you have a lot of guests and you let them come here and be who they are, and not judge them for it. And I think that's beautiful. And I think we need a lot more of that, because then we can find, like you said, people who'll allow you to speak. And if you're allowed to speak, you're allowed to grow, and you're allowed to feel accepted and respected. And I think that's what I want to do with disco as well. So you've given me a lot of motivation to feel like it's possible.